All right. So, in light of everything that's been happening recently, there's been plenty of theories that have come out about this submarine.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. It's been like, everybody's talking about it, everybody's tweeting about it. It's been the story that has captivated America. Okay. Um, gist of it, people that paid a ton of money to go view the Titanic sink in this submarine that was being controlled with like an N64 controller. Okay.
Yep.
Obviously, very sad. T's and P's to the family of each of the members that were on that
Mm-hmm.
submarine. Okay. And I've been reading constantly all these like different conspiracy theories as to how that happened, why it happened, why they lost contact, blah, 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 all this stuff. And not one of them has included something that I think should be paid attention to more closely. Is I'm assuming you will probably agree with me. People are saying that orcas did this or it was some sort of government scheme. Why is
Mm-hmm.
nobody looking at the possibility of Bigfoot having a hand in
Right.
this? I
Yep.
mean, like, because it is a tragic event, and some of it has said that maybe the submarine went somewhere and saw something or some creature that it maybe shouldn't have seen. Okay, what if Bigfoot is also aquatic or he has aquatic allies that are down there? What if he just doesn't like modern technology and he was upset that his sea creature friends or himself in his underaquatic land where he goes to hide and only comes up every so often, which is where people see him and they don't see him year round because he's actually an aquatic being and lives in the ocean. He was like, nah, F that, I'm destroying this submarine or I'm going to have someone destroy it. Because as far as we know, through all of his other escapades, Bigfoot's an intellectual being.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we not considering the possibility that he's responsible for the disappearance of the submarine? Or, well, I guess not the disappearance, the implosion of the submarine.
So tell me I'm wrong, and I know that it wasn't necessarily taking place in Scotland, right? We know where it was taking place. Who's to say that Bigfoot and Nessie aren't in cahoots on this? And they saw Nessie down there chilling on the Titanic, and Nessie calls up his boy Bigfoot, and he's like, "Dude, we got a problem."
Yeah.
And Bigfoot
Yeah.
sends out
We
his
got
minions.
trespassers on my property.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about this? So next thing you know, Bigfoot, being the puppet master that he is able to implode, air quotes, implode that submarine. I'm just
Not
saying.
enough air quotes.
Mm,
Yeah, and also I think that it's like even bigger than that. Like it's going to all creatures that have a connection to each other because if you look at things recently, I don't think anything that lives in the ocean wants people in the ocean. Because if you've seen shark attacks have been happening more recently,
mm-hmm.
orcas are seeking out and sinking boats like for no reason, just tanking like small little ships and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then this submarine thing, like, and there's been it's like the most deaths by riptide since 2011 or something like that this year. Like, I mean, there's a lot of signs that maybe, and I'm an ocean guy, so this breaks my heart, but there's a lot of signs that maybe the ocean and those that inhabit it don't want us being there anymore. Because to me, the way I think about it, you're not seeing a shark putting on swim trunks and suntan lotion and diving into our living rooms. That shit's not happening. We're technically vacationing or entering in their habitat, their home, and in a way we are technically trespassing. So I feel like maybe the ocean's giving signs like, hey, back the hell up for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe just tied in is their old ally Bigfoot.
Yeah, listen. I'm not disputing any of that because we don't know. We
Right. We just don't.
we don't.
So as much as some people might think that it's crazy to say that, it's just as crazy not to say that.
Yeah, exactly. To roll it out would be the crazy thing there.
It's just irresponsible. It would just be irresponsible to rule that possibility out.
Yeah,
So
exactly, dude.
something to think on for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree, dude. I don't want to assume anything, especially when Bigfoot's out there just doing what he needs to do, to make sure that
He just wants some privacy.
he.
That's all. He's a simple guy.
I don't know, dude. I think Bigfoot might be a little more power hungry than that, but they always say the people with the most
Well,
power
okay,
are the
yeah,
quietest ones.
he wants to rule in power
Mm-hmm.
in privacy. He
Yes,
doesn't want people to know how powerful he is because then there will be more people that want to take that away from him.
exactly, dude. I'm just saying, dude. I'm just
This
saying.
has been a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been months now we've been on to this, and I've been having to sleep with one eye open because I'm nervous that Bigfoot might have things in the works to stop us from exposing them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, that's possible. That's all I'm saying. You can't convince me otherwise. So.
Yep.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Smalls back on another edition of the Vault, a weekly show from Thoughts to the Bench that takes a look back at some of the best and worst jerseys in sports. With me, as always, is my boy, Mr. Benny Buckets. How's it going, man?
It's going well, brother. I'm happy to be back. Shout out to Deke for covering for me
Yeah?
last week. Things got a little hairy, so I appreciate the fill in. You guys did a great show, but I'm excited to be here, man. How about yourself?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Just enjoying the summer while I can. Buccos are tanking, which we all knew that was going to happen eventually. Um,
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not really much else in sports going on, so I'm fiending for college football. I've just been watching Drew Aller Penn State highlights for the past 2 weeks, just because I have nothing else to really look forward to at this point. So, but yeah, it'll be a good time for sports soon. We're going to the Bucco game tomorrow for as a TFTB
Super
outing,
pumped.
which is
Yep.
nice. Yeah.
Super pumped for that.
Uh,
Which by the time this airs will have been past 10, so we'll let you know how bad the score was.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, dude, I'm excited for that at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. All right, Benny. So, there's something that we wanted to start. So we wanted to start this week by kind of getting something off our chests a little bit. Haven't really talked to many people about it. Outside, we talked to Derek about it. Um, Unfortunately, this is the last season of the Vault, which sucks to say out loud. But there's a lot of reasons behind it. But we kind of wanted to just get out in front of it without just cutting it off cold turkey. Wanted to get out there and just announce it that, hey, this is our last season of the Vault. Which again sucks. We're gonna have 3 more episodes. And So today, next week, and then the week after that, we will be calling it a wrap here in a few weeks. Obviously, this is something that we've been doing for a long time. Started this as a blog, I don't know, probably about 5 years ago. I was in college, started writing the Vault, kind of took a step away from the Vault or from TFTB as a whole for a while, coming out of school. When I came back, decided to kind of take the Vault into video form, asked you to come along. And I feel like right away we knew that we had something cool and fun and different. But I don't think neither one of us really knew how long we were really gonna do it. It was just more we had fun doing it, so we were just gonna keep doing it every week. We took breaks. We had seasons of it so that we could kind of refresh, recharge. But we didn't know when we were gonna stop doing it. We knew eventually the day would come. We just didn't know when. Unfortunately, I think now is kind of the right time to do it. This isn't like personal with Thoughts from the Bench guys. It's not that we didn't like being a part of it, not that anything is soured. We still love doing the show. It's not that we don't enjoy doing it. It's just something that, it just happened to be the right time. And I think, this season, you and I have both kind of been talking for a little bit about it. That this might be it. So There are a few reasons for it. Um, First of all, life things. You and I are both getting pretty busy as far as
Yep.
work. We're both coaching. I just got married, so there's a little more on my plate as far as that goes. Like I'm trying to buy a house in the next year. Like there's a lot going on there. Coaching obviously is something that we both love. That we not that gets in the way of the show, but more it makes it a lot harder to do the show. I want to eventually start a family. Work has, I know for both of us, our careers obviously kind of come first, which, sucks to say because, I mean, this is something that if I could do this for a living, I would. And, I think even for a little while, I thought maybe, hey, there's a chance that we could kind of do this full time, but and we had a little bit of momentum with us from the bench, but that kind of stopped. So there's life stuff that's kind of been going on. So we just don't want to be stretched too thin, which I think is pretty fair. In addition to that, too, thoughts from the bench. It's not that we want to leave necessarily. It's just more, and you can probably speak on it a little bit more than I can. We already kind of talked to Derek about it a little bit. Thoughts from the bench has just kind of changed a little bit as far as just community. What drew us to TFTB in the first place was more the community behind it and all the guys, and the it's just not as strong of a feeling as it once was. I mean, I know at one point we had Coors as a sponsor, and we were like, it was just go 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 go, and we were doing really well for a while, and then things just kind of I don't want to say stopped, but a lot of things at TFTB stopped. We were one of the few things that kept going, and because of that, we were one of the few shows that kept putting out content every week.
Hmm.
And we were kind of on an island a little bit, just for the simple fact that we were one of the only consistent things about thoughts from the bench. And
Yeah.
just to keep doing all the work that we kind of put into it, just there's no momentum anymore. There's not everyone's pulling in the same direction. And it's no one's fault. I don't want to say it's like any person's fault. It's not like we're blaming anyone. It's more just things have changed. I mean, Vo is a kid now. Like people have moved. It's just people get older. That's just kind of what
Hmm.
happens, and because of that, the group just isn't. It's not as strong as it used to be. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add there. It really just more. It's more the right time. We wanted to leave on a good note without just cutting everyone off cold turkey, and we just kind of felt like it's kind of the best time to do it while we still love doing it. So
Yeah. And, I think it's important for everybody to know, like, this was our decision. It's not like we were getting canned or anything like that. We just had, a, a pair of serious conversations with Derek about the future of everything. And like you said, just, unfortunately, this is something that has to come after other priorities that we have in our life. And
yep,
now it's getting to a point where you only have room for so much, and this is starting to get pushed on the outskirts.
yep,
But it's something that we've obviously loved doing. Um, and we'll still be rooting for thoughts from the bench, and still want to stay friends of the group
yep.
for sure. And you might see us pop in here or there for certain things, but just
Mm-hmm.
in terms of consistently doing things for thoughts from the bench and consistently doing the vault, that's not really going to be a thing anymore. But like you said before, we had 3 seasons of this show. That's more than a lot of people can say. I'm
Yep.
sure we can tally up towards the end how many actually episodes we have, but I think we're somewhere in the realm of like 75 or something like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've had a lot of great times here, and
Yep.
success, and great memories, and hell,
Yep.
I mean, even some of that community we became good friends with. And we're going to a Pirate game tomorrow, like you
Mm-hmm.
said. I mean, just it has been awesome being a part of that community. And it has been awesome being able to work with you and work with some of those guys. Just some things naturally have to come to an end, and I
Yep.
think that we took this show as far as we could take it in the means of what we had available.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we made the most of it, and we did a great job with what we did. You edit everything. You come up with at least half the topics. You bring on the guests. You edit. You are the one who's running the computer program. Like, this is your show, and I'm honored that you let me be with you and take this ride with you. And because I originally was like, well, Smalls wants to do a show. I've been friends with him for a long time, and you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm not doing enough right now for Thoughts on the Bench. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I love the concept of the show. You and me have been
Mm-hmm.
big Jersey heads for a long
Yep.
time, and it was just something that I did off a whim, and now it's something that I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to do for years. And and I think honestly, us doing this as often as we have and putting in the time and effort that we have into this, and it has gotten us closer as friends. I think it's
100%.
the
Yep.
I think it's the biggest thing that led to you getting a coach with me last
Yep.
year. And I think it was just, these things serve a bigger purpose than just putting content out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been cool getting to see our content reach
Mm-hmm.
different people and reach different avenues. And so everybody who's been watching and supporting the show for the last 3 seasons, we can't thank you enough. And I mean, you are the second biggest reason that we do this outside of just loving to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I mean, to everybody who has liked, shared, subscribed, even just taken a minute to watch a clip of our
Mm-hmm.
stuff, you have no idea how much of an impact that has on us and how much that means to us.
Yep.
And all the guys at Thoughts from the Bench, we have had a blast being a part of this community. It just isn't holding to what it did before, and I think a lot of that has to do with just our lives developing more,
Yep.
and that we just, you know adult stuff comes first, and not
Yep.
this isn't adult stuff, but just our work and our families and things like that have to be a priority, and it's getting to the point where that's just squeezing this out. But that
Yep.
doesn't mean that our time with Thoughts on the Bench in writing or in producing or in making content hasn't mattered. It's just the time where it did matter is passing, and we want to go out the right way, which I think that we are. We
Mm-hmm.
we want to finish the season strong, and we had the talks that we need to, and this is all on a positive note. We
Yep.
never wanted it to end, but like you said, we knew that naturally you just had to at some
Mm-hmm.
point, and it snuck up on us, I think, quicker than we may have realized.
Yeah.
But it's here, and it is what it is. But I'm very satisfied and content with the legacy of this show that we're leaving behind,
Mm-hmm.
and with our time at the Thoughts from the Bench being what it is. And
Yep.
who's to say we don't end up making content again down the road,
Yep.
whether it's here or whether it's doing something separately. Just right now, it's not fitting into our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to accept that. Viewers need to accept that. Thoughts from the Bench needs to accept that. And I think that we all have come to that understanding,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it is somber to a point, because we don't want it to be to end. But I think we can all be at peace with it closing the way that it is.
Yeah, no, that's. I feel like we went about things the right way. I mean, first of all, just I still challenge anyone to show me a show on YouTube or anything that talks about jerseys. I've yet to see it. Like, I
Yeah.
still think that we're one of the only ones that does it. So just the fact that we brought the concept to life was awesome, and the fact that we stayed doing it consistently as long as we did, I think was awesome. And then even just on top of that too, I mean, yeah, we made a ton of friends at Thoughts from the Bench because of it. But in addition to that too, we also met a lot of people through that. With Will Marshall, I mean, he's just a friend of the show now. Like, he's a guy that I would just hang out with. Brandon Moon,
Right.
another guy. Chance, we got the day one lifestyle boys. Like so many, Grayson, who came on a few weeks ago for the first time. We've been able to talk to some really cool people throughout the whole process, which has been awesome. But it's not all sad. Like, obviously it's sad because we love doing the show, and that
Right.
part of it sucks. But and I don't get me wrong, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it a lot. There are gonna be times where I'm gonna be like, damn, I wish I could just fire up the show real quick. But just to be able to do it every week, it like you said, it is just kind of a squeeze. But I mean, the way that I'm thinking about it is we brought a cool concept to the channel, and we had a lot of laughs, had a lot of a lot of cool conversations with people, and just between us, we got closer as friends, because of the show. And I mean, I know that you and I are still gonna just go and get a drink and talk jerseys at some point. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like,
Right.
we'll be doing the show, maybe just not on camera. And
Right.
that's kind of the beauty. That's kind of the beauty of it, right? So a little bit somber, and Benny, I know you're probably not drinking right now, which is fine. I'm only having a whiskey, but I'm putting one down for the boys. So that's the announcement. So take it, take it as you will. But wanted to let everyone know, just because we wanted to go out strong, and we have some cool topics lined up for the last 3 episodes, just to try to encapsulate what the show is all about. So,
Yep.
um,
And for the finale, I will be in Stooge.
let's go.
I will be in Stooge for the finale also. And then I'll have a drink to give us a proper send off then.
There we go.
So
There we go. All right, Benny. Let's get into it. That kind of sucked a little bit, but let's turn it around a little bit. I think we have a great topic ahead of us. Before we get into it, do you want to read the ad read this week?
absolutely. Who would have thought? This week's topic is brought to you by Marshall Fitness. Marshall Fitness is your one-stop training app, ran by the one and only beautiful human, Will Marshall, who has been putting out a lot of great content recently, to where it is informative and pretty hilarious, if I might add. He is developing himself as a business. You see, he's got the new logo, and he's putting more out there on socials. But one thing remains the same: is that he is the most professional personal trainer you will be able to find. Will be able to reach you virtually and make sure that you meet your needs, not what a mold is for what being fit means. It's what goals you are looking for. Will tailor a diet and a workout program based around the goals that you are trying to hit, and based on what access you have to gym equipment and workout schedules and things like that. He's the most accessible, the most personable, and the most professional personal trainer out there. And if you're sitting around wondering when you should start with Will Marshall, the best time to start is right now.
There we go. So, this week's topic, as always, brought to you by Marshall Fitness, is jerseys so bad that they're actually good, part 2. So we did this season 1. This is just, and again, since we're ending the show, we wanted to do topics that kind of really represent what the show is all about. And I think this is something that you and I both agree on, that there's something about bad jerseys. Not all of them, but there are a lot of jerseys that should be considered bad out there that are just kind of fire because they're so bad.
Yeah,
And it's been a while since we've done this exact topic, but this is just one of those things that it brings us nostalgia, and it gets us a good laugh because of it, and it's really just in the main vein of the show of just being nostalgic and just talking shop about jerseys. So
yep,
I can't think of a better one. I can't think of a better topic to start our countdown for leaving the show. So I'm excited.
agreed.
I'm excited. So jerseys so bad that they're actually good. Benny, what do you got?
So to start us off, I've got the 2000s, well, I guess late 90s, early 2000s New England Patriots home jersey. For whatever reason, these just tickle my fancy. I like these, and I can't even really explain to you why. But big obnoxious logos are a sweet spot for
Yep.
Smalls and I. So those giant Patriot heads on the shoulders are, to me, awesome, and definitely hit the vibe of that time period. And then also the weird, like, you can barely notice it, but off-colored blue stripes in the torso of the jersey, and then that just white font with the red outline that pops off the jersey. I love that. I don't know what it is. They just look cool to me, and it reminds me of watching football when I was a kid and like first got into it. Like when I was growing up, this is one of those jerseys that takes me back to like, do you remember when you started watching football? And this is one of those nostalgic hits for me. Also, Another benefit is this also reminds me of the Patriots before they were good and
Yep.
became a dynasty, because this was when, and God bless him, I do love Drew Bledsoe, but just one of the unluckiest quarterbacks of
Yeah.
all time. There's like him, Tyrod Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
RG3. Like there's a few guys that have just had unlucky careers, and he ends up being one of those guys. He had like, his 17th injury, and then on the one where he was finally starting to make some ground with the team, he gets replaced by a 6th round pick who goes on to end up, of course, being the best quarterback to ever play the game because that's Drew Bledsoe's luck. But this reminds me of when they weren't so good and they weren't a problem when the Steelers played them. And that makes me happy because this is before I hated the Patriots. So it brings me back to a more pleasant time in my football mind.
Yeah. No, then I one of my picks is in the same vein where like it's just the obnoxious. I don't know what it is about the '90s and football jerseys, but like the obnoxious shoulder logos are just hilarious. I don't know why. They're just funny, and it
Yeah.
and it a lot of it is nostalgic. Just kind of like you said, it reminds me of growing up watching football. Like the
Yeah.
best parts of that is just are these crazy looking shoulder pads that they all had, and the stripes are another. Just like, why did they add the stripes in there? I've outside of the jerseys that we've roasted on this show, you don't see stripes on jerseys, and yeah, it's like an accent, but
Yeah, because they're just like, it's literally like you go to like Sherwin-Williams,
yeah,
and it's the next shade of blue card that
yeah,
is that they're like just that close where it's like indigo and then deep indigo.
yep,
And like you're like, dude, why are these even different? But that's what they put in the
hmm,
jersey, just enough to where if the light hits it right, you see that there's stripes in there.
yeah. Also, a little tidbit here too. Right as I was trying to bring the vault into a video form, I so before I asked you to come on board, I was trying to put together episodes, more quick hitters. They were like 5 minute videos of just like old jerseys, and I was trying to get them in person, right? I was trying to get the physical jerseys and like show them off a little bit, right? And thank God none of those ever saw the light of day. I think I made 2 of them, and this was one of the jerseys that I found, a Drew Bledsoe uh, Patriots jersey with the crazy logo on the shoulder, and thank God I never saw the light of day, but this is one of the ones that I had in person in my hands, and I put it together, and I watched it back, and I was like, this is dog shit. But, but this is just one of this is like a callback to when I first started thinking about bringing the Vault 2 video, and it's perfect that you brought this one to the table because it is such a throwback, especially with the name like Drew Bledsoe, is just
Yeah,
like you only think of him as the guy who got benched so Tom Brady could start.
for Brady. Yep.
And the fact that he wore these back when I think they made the Super Bowl back in what, like 96 or 97 or something.
I'm not
They
sure.
lost one before they went on the run, and like this is just the callback to when they weren't good. And I think it's hilarious simply because of the shoulder pads and stripes. And
Yeah.
the weird numbers. Like I don't know what it is. It's just so funny. But this is
Yeah,
a
but like I would wear this because it's
yes,
hilarious and it's just
yes,
something that hits for me for whatever reason.
yeah, yeah. And I donated this jersey to a Goodwill because I couldn't bring myself to wear a Pats jersey.
Yeah.
But I this is it is the only Pats thing that I think I would wear. Like, and I couldn't bring myself to it, but it is one of the only things that I considered keeping because it is just so outrageous. But
Yeah.
that's a great first pick. Let's go to my first pick, going with the '97 Hawks. So these have probably come up on the show before. I love these. There's something so '90s about this corny bird that you see on your screen here. It is so cartoonish. It's just giant, really in your face. The way it's clutching the basketball is really kind of aggressive. The fact that the letters are just massive, the letters and numbers are just massive in your face on the jersey itself is hilarious. And it's just a callback to 90s NBA jerseys, which we love. We've talked about those a lot before. The gradient is another note that I wanted to throw in here. You don't see the gradient anymore, and if you do, it doesn't look good. These are just, it's in that pack of jerseys that just aged well because they were so bad in the 90s. And there's just nothing quite like a mid to late 90s Hawks jersey that hits. And I was doing a little research today. Apparently the Hawks were just going for it in the 90s. They applied through the NBA, they applied to have new jerseys every single year. Different designs every single year, and they just kept sending it. I don't know if many got approved because you just can't change your uniform every single year in the NBA. But like, it's just funny that they just kept trying to send it. But this is kind of the one that sticks because it's hilarious. It's just so in your face.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite jerseys of all time.
Yeah,
And I know it's not great. Like, that's
yeah,
like, please, like, I don't want people to think like, oh, this guy does a jersey show and he's an idiot. But like, I genuinely love this jersey. I think it's hysterical. And I actually tried. Funny story. I tried to buy one,
yep.
a Steve Smith jersey online, and I still to this day have never received it. And that was like 2 years ago. So maybe even longer than that, like 3 years ago. I tried buying this jersey, and it was off like a legit site. Never got it to me. Never got any response or anything like that. So damn shame. But I almost had this just with the number 8 Steve Smith jersey
Mm-hmm.
instead. But I love these, and I think it perfectly executes the 90s vibe
Mm-hmm.
and the throwback sense of what we're looking for nostalgia. So I think this is a great pick.
Yeah, and like the gradient and the logo for me are just, they're so 90s, but it just, and back in the day they were just
And
considered awful.
the wings reach to the back. Like, the
Yeah,
tips of the wings are next to the numbers on the back,
yeah,
which is hilarious too.
yeah. But like these just, it's because the era aged so well with these jerseys that it just, yeah, it looks horrible when you just step back and you don't know when it's from. You're like, what is this? But then with a little context, you're like, oh, this is sick. And the fact that you got a Steve Smith Hawks jersey or tried to is even
Well,
funnier.
yeah, I
So
tried to,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
But no, this is I had to throw this on here. Benny, what do you got for pick two? Yes,
All right,
yes,
I'm going to keep it short and sweet, okay? Because this jersey is potentially in contention for the most brought up jersey
yes.
on our show's entire history. But turn back the clock, 1999. I wish I could turn back the clock to 1999. Or sorry, these were turn ahead the clock.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could turn back the clock to 1999 and see why they thought that this was the future of baseball. Um, the sleeves alone with the yellow and the black leading into the red, and then the Pirates face logo, which normally would be really cool, but the fact that they changed it to a yellow bandana instead of a red bandana just makes it that much weirder. I feel like almost if they gave him the red bandana and they put this on a yellow jersey, it would maybe look even a little better than this. But this is one of those ones that we love, big obnoxious logos,
Mm-hmm.
and it's right there for the world to see. That's a logo that I think a lot of true diehard Pirates fans do love.
Yep.
And it's hilarious that it's on a jersey that has no buttons. It's just like a pullover with two undershirts. It is the weird red-headed stepchild of the Pirates, and then matched with the black Pirates hat with the yellow brim.
Yeah.
It's just a very dysfunctional jersey, but in our Bucko diehard hearts, this is Chef's Kisses. So, you and I love this jersey. We obsess over
Mm-hmm.
this jersey. We know it's terrible, but we love it anyway. Fits the topic to a T.
Yeah. It's, again, it's so awful that you can't help but love it. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
what were they thinking? And we don't even have the picture of the back of it. The back is even funnier, like with the numbers and the names, because the names are
Yeah,
vertical.
because it's all, yep.
Yeah, which is hilarious. Yeah, and just the bandana makes it look like pizza with burnt pepperoni on top, and just saying out loud the fact that Century 21 real estate was the reason that the MLB did this, just because the company name was Century 21 and it was
Yeah,
almost the 21st century.
just a realtor. Yep. I mean, just absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and the yellow undershirt, it's just perfection. And the fact that you can't buy this anywhere for less than $400 just says
Yeah.
it all, I think.
Yep.
That summarizes it perfectly. So, a perfect second pick. I had a feeling this was going to come up because, I mean, yeah, this is one of my favorites of all time. Not because it's good, because it's so outrageous. And frankly, if I got this as a gift for Christmas, I think I'd be the happiest man on earth. So,
Yeah, I would Najee Davenport myself.
yeah.
I would dump right through
Yep.
somebody's laundry basket. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Oh, what a callback. All right. Pick number 2, 97 pens. We're staying in the Berg for this one. So,
The Robo.
the Robo pen is something that made its comeback in recent years as well. Something that a lot of Yinzers hated back in the day, but has kind of become cool now that you kind of go back and look at it. The Robo pen is kind of legendary just because it makes me think of growing up in Pittsburgh, right? It's super weird, just a triangle with, and I know that it has the penguin chest on it, and that's kind of the point of it with the wing, and I get it, but it just looks like a triangle with the penguin head on it. The fact that they also they threw in the shoulder look with the random gray, which I've never seen a Pens jersey with gray on it in my life other than this. Doesn't make any sense. But the gray shoulders with the weird yellow pinstripes is just hilarious. Same thing going across the Robo Pen itself. The gray stripes go all the way around the back. It's hilarious looking. It was the NHL just trying to look modern back in the late 90s, and it just doesn't look good, but it makes me think of a better time when we had Lemieux and again, I was too young to really remember these necessarily, but it's the vibe that it gives, and it's the vibe of, you know, that this is the kind of jersey that you would see walking into like Gabriel Brothers to buy a cheap off-brand knockoff jersey, and
Right.
it would look exactly like this, except for the fact that the professional teams actually wore this. And normally that would be a bad thing, and everything about this should make me want to hate it. But you know that both of our dads went into those stores looking for cheap jerseys, picking up something just like this. So
Yep.
this is just pure nostalgia for me, and I had to put it on here.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is actually my third favorite Pens jersey of all time.
Yeah.
I love these, and it is because they're ridiculous and they are so different. And the fact that then they made that weird banner all around the torso coming off of the Robo Pen, like it would even be different if they didn't have that large wide stripe across the torso and they just had the Robo Pen sitting in there. It would still be kind of crazy, but
Hmm.
these are quintessential 90s jerseys, and especially being a Pens one, you gotta love it.
Yeah, yeah. This is just, especially with the gradient too. They were trying to look modern, and it just didn't hit, but it kind of hits now, which is kind of why I love it. So, um, I had to throw that one on there. Benny, pick 3. What do you got for your last one?
My last pick, I'm going to power through and just give you the facts, okay? Memphis Grizzlies, formerly the Vancouver Grizzlies. This is a jersey that has also come up before, but we love the color. And for whatever reason, the weird, like, fang font that they have on there just hits. I know it's bad, but it hits. And Vancouver being across there in that color of like teal or whatever you want to call that, we just love that shade, and I think it works well in basketball. But then the weird like 90s slash early 2000s like Brother Bear DVD cover font that's in the collar and around the sleeves, like it is just kind of hilarious to a point, but like it's also hard, and it makes me think of those teams with like Mike Bibby
Yep.
back in the day, and despite what he might be, because he had a great career with the Grizzlies and the Kings,
Hmm.
and it makes you think of those teams. Mike Miller played back then, and Jason Williams for a short period of time, and it's like you think about those Grizzly teams. It's cool to see that history because I don't really like their jerseys now.
Hmm.
But knowing that they have this to tap back into, and it was cool having another Canadian team that wasn't the Raptors, who also had ridiculous
Yep.
jerseys during this time period. So this is one that I feel like gets outshined by the Raptors jersey, but this is one that still needs its props, which I'm going to give it today.
Yeah, I have one of these. I have a Mike Bibby one, and it's one of my favorites just because it's so 90s. It's not even funny. Like you said, the Grizzlies font is hilarious. The trim is obnoxious, but again, kind of fits Vancouver a little bit with like like you said, brother pair trim, which is a good call out.
Thank you.
Yeah, but like yeah, this is just it's just kind of cool. I don't know how else to really say it. They're just kind of cool now. And obviously, back in the day, were considered to be awful, and I get it. But I also love the giant Grizzlies logo on the shorts. Is just another
Yeah,
added
dude,
thing,
huge.
you
The
know?
actual bear, yeah,
Yeah,
dude, that's sick.
yeah, no, yeah, big fan of these. Like I said, I have one. I think it fits the topic perfectly. So,
Right.
all right,
All right, Smalls, bring us home.
so
Yes.
this one is something, dude. I look back, we have not featured this on the show. I think it was an honorable mention one time, but I have not actually talked about it. So, Wisconsin Badgers back in 1995. These were worn once. They only wore these one time. Wisconsin in general was a pretty traditional looking uniform, right? Like a lot of Big Ten teams, they're just pretty low key. Um, but in '95, they decided to bring these out for an early season game against Colorado. They got blown out 43-7, and they never wore them again. This is one where I love everything about it. The goofy white sleeves are hilarious, with the Wisconsin W just kind of creeping up with its silhouette cutting into the red. Doesn't make any sense. And there's something about shoulder pad logos that are just so funny to me, especially back then when there were multiple teams in the Big Ten doing this, and it just makes me think of old school Big Ten football where the broadcast comes on and you hear the bad 90s techno sports music come on with the ESPN college football logo swirling in like a kind of like a third grader put together a PowerPoint, and there's a pew pew sound
Oh,
as it zooms in, and you know that you're just going to watch dudes with shoulder pads that are way too big where the quarterbacks literally have to throw the football overhand like they're pitching in cricket because the shoulder pads are so big. And it's just so funny to me, and it makes me think of 90s Big Ten football, which is what I grew up watching. And again, I didn't
right.
see these necessarily, but it just is a callback to a different time when we were growing up. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think, like you said, with it being like with Wisconsin being one of those schools who never really changes their look, they really went out on a limb on this one, and I think that blowout was karma because these are
yep,
just so ridiculous. But I don't know why these appeal to me. The
yep,
big W, it's the lack of sense that this makes,
yep,
and then with like your typical like TV show football team number font that they
yep,
have with just the giant W in the sleeves, or like it's not even like just the sleeves. They like cut out more of the sleeve
yep.
in white to fit the massive W when they could have even just made it smaller or moved it down. They were like, no, let's make this more difficult than it needs to be. But these are hilarious and also something that would be hard as hell if someone
Yep.
walks into a party wearing one of these jerseys.
Absolutely. I would wear one of these. Even though I would look like a Chick-fil-A employee, like to give me
True.
big Chick-fil-A vibes, but like there's just something funny and something
Yeah.
really niche about these because like I said, they only wore them once. So if someone were to walk into a party with one of these on, I mean, all the props in the world to that guy because like this is about as
Yeah.
low key as you can
Huge
find.
niche throwback, especially like you said, only used once, but that's why. We love it, and that's a great last pick for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, wrapping up. Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots. Turn ahead the clock jersey is hilarious. And Vancouver Grizzlies, obviously, all time. Atlanta Hawks, RoboPen, and the Chick-fil-A Wisconsin uniforms. Love every single one of these. I think we nailed it. I don't really have too much to add because I feel like we hit all the good ones. And we've already done this before, but there's just something about bad jerseys looking that age well because of the time that just hit so hard for me. So,
Yeah.
Benny, anything else to add?
No, man, I love this countdown with the topics that we have lined up, and today was a great kickoff to that. And I'm excited to get back next week.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, this has been the Vault weekly show that takes a look back at some of the best and worst jerseys in sports. Like we said, only got 2 episodes left after this, so please tune in. Got big things coming. Will Marshall should be on next week, so we will see you guys then. So, peace.
Peace.